Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Come on into our home. We are now on schedule at regular time, Monday nights at 9 p.m. As you are coming on, please. Hey, Ursula Brown, I see you.
Hey.
Ron, Sharon, Kanisha, go ahead, guys, and do us a big favor. As you are coming and on, please. 1 second, we still got to work out those kinks. Make sure you turn your volume on down. And please share. Please share. Oh, goodness. Valencia, thank you so much. Alyssa, Damien, hey, Ross, hey, Tony Winans, hey, Mike Eller, hey, brother.
Hey.
How are you? Yes. So let's get on, guys, and let's take a moment to Elder Gordon Hicks. Thanks for joining. Thank you all for joining, stepping on. Thanks for sharing the video. I see you. Hey, my friend from Phoenix, Arizona, can't wait to get there for whatever reason. I hope it's a good reason, though. Amen. That's what we're praying for.
Yes.
Kenneth Franklin. Thanks for sharing, Fendrick. I see you. Hey, Kanisha.
Hey, Kanisha.
And so I want to get in, and I'm sharing now. So, Tanette Williams, miss you, lady. Russell Jones, thank you, guys. You guys are great today coming on in. And we're sharing here. And so we're inviting and whatnot. So we're getting in here and getting it done, all right? So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it together, guys. Let's do it together. Go ahead and hit share. You should see an icon that said it has invite friends next to it. Laylee Butler enjoyed you tremendously on Sunday. What a powerful word.
Oh, yes.
James Todd, awesome. Pastor T, Timothy Jackson. Hey, Lady Lisa, bless you. What a tremendous word. Make sure you tell Pastor Butler we said hello. Hope he got in safely.
Please.
Amen. And amen. So we are in here. Let's go to work, guys, and invite. Let's make this a great show, a great night. Amen. We really do appreciate you guys.
Yes.
What's going on, Brittany?
Hey, Brittany.
Hey. So we're in here. And let's get in. Thanks for inviting, guys. Keep sharing and inviting. If you're just coming on, please share and invite. This is going to be what I believe is going to be a powerful show or live. Thanks for joining Jay and live tonight.
Yes.
This will be our regular time unless something changes. We'll be here every Monday night at 9 p.m. And we definitely want you to be blessed by everything. Certainly ask questions. This is reaction and interaction. Yes. Both of those are welcome in our world, in our circle, on this live. Thank you, Wanda. Thank you, Leroy. Hey, Leroy, I see you. Leroy. Kenyatta. Okay, yeah. Yes, Kenyatta's on here. Yeah. And we're inviting all to come. And
this is really exciting. Jason and I, we so look forward to doing, the Jay and La show. We look forward to talking with you all and sharing with you all. We really look forward to this.
Really do look forward to it. Hopefully there's some kind of jewel you can pick out of this live, something that you can take home and Be blessed by it.
Yes.
Have it left over. Thanks for sharing again. Brian Porter. Hey, Pratt, I see you. Montgomery, bless you, sir. And thank you all for coming on. We're still inviting. Hey, church boy, DeAndre. Hey, man, how you doing? And let's keep it coming. I want to make sure that we go hard here on this today. And we're going to get cracking in just a minute here. And so thank you guys for taking the time. One day, hopefully, as this this live gets better, we'll actually have someone who can do this on the other end. But you know, when you are grassrooting, you have to, you know, do everything, and we don't mind. I promise you,
Not
we really
at all.
don't. But we definitely want to make sure we are. What's going on? Hey, Renata, Erica Myers. Hey, Patrick Charles, Kim Sanders. What's going on, lady?
Hey, Kim.
Hey. And so we want you guys to come on in. For those who are just coming in, please take the time to share, and invite your individual friends. And that's what we're doing right now, because sometimes we understand that, particularly on Facebook, thanks to Kanisha, she just keeps sharing. God bless you. And they use algorithms. Hey, Regina. And so with algorithms, sometimes you have to do more individual invites that you would want to, I should say. So with that, we have to. Hey, Sarah, thanks for sharing. I'll see you. Thank you all for sharing. And so God is amazing.
Yes, He is. So I hope you all have had a blessed day.
Yes.
A productive day.
All right, we get ready to come down to the end here. Hey, what's going on, Chris Brooks of Baltimore, I believe now. Hey, buddy. And good to have you on here tonight, man.
Yes. We anticipate some husbands and wives are possibly watching tonight.
Yes, and even if you're not espoused, you're here tonight as well. We want you to be as well.
Yes.
So we are not excluding anyone. All of this. So,
not at all.
So we want you to be blessed by everything that's being said. This is going to help. And we're going to share something that's tonight. If I were you, go ahead and invite and share. We're going to share something that's really dear to our heart tonight. And I have put on a post. Perhaps clinics might be recommended because it's that kind of a subject matter where you might,
just some,
yeah, just some, but something that I feel that we need to release. And wow, hey, what's going on? I see you loving like I do. I know who you are. Anthony McCoy, Lydia Thompson, Carl Anderson, my cousin, Carlos Williams, Sean Upshaw, man, thanks for coming in, man, from all the way from Dallas, Texas. Mark Haywood, hey, Mark. Good to have all of you on here.
Yes.
Sean Upshaw is a very good writer. He's an avid sports fan like me. And so we enjoy trash talking during football season to each other. We always look forward to September, or maybe it's August. I'm not sure, but I know it's one of those months for sure. And we enjoy, throughout. And but it's all in love and fun.
Yes.
We do. We get it going. It's good to have fun, guys. Just have fun and enjoy each other. It's important to have friends. That even they're a long distance, and you can still, by way of social media, email, and now FaceTime and Google Chat. I mean, not Google Chat, Google Hangout. And so you have all of these avenues where you can still stay in touch with people, and it's just amazing. The things that we have access to. For those of you, again, who are just coming on, please share and invite. And we're getting ready to get into this, really get into this here. Go ahead, honey. I knew you were going to say something.
No, I was, for any new timers,
yes.
If this is your first time, I'm La and this is Jay.
Yep.
Salah and Jason.
Salah and Jason. Or Jason, Salah, Jay, and La.
However, yeah.
Listen, if you're a first timer, please do us a favor. Let us know who you are and where you're from. That'd be great. That'd be great. But let us know who you are and where you're from. And that will be a tremendous blessing that let us know that we want to welcome you. Certainly we want to welcome you to this live with Jay and La. So thank you for being here. All right, our numbers are getting better. Please go ahead and invite and share, and let's have at it.
Yes.
All right, hon.
Yes. You want me to start, or you want to start?
Yeah. I mean, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Where do I want to start? Well, let's go here. Jay La, who's this? Hey, Brandon. What's going on, man? All right. So here we are. Make sure I'll show the screen here.
We can give them a little recap of our last show that we talked about. In our last show, just to give you a little recap, we talked about how we met. We talked about the process of dating.
Yes.
And it was a really it was really interesting, and it really brought back a lot of memories when we were dating and how we met, and the anticipation of our wedding day and the wedding day, and after we got married, the beginning stages of our relationship. We talked about all of those things, and the challenges that we also endured during the first stages of our marriage. We've been married for 22 years. It'll be 23 years in June.
Yeah, yay. Let me interject here. My cousin, who is a new one, he's a newbie here, and this is Corus Williams, and he says he's originally from West Palm Beach, Florida, but he was raised in Georgia. That's where our folks are at, in Georgia as well. Currently serving for the United States Navy. We salute you, sir.
Yes, sir.
For your service. Definitely honor you and respect what you do. And plus, you're my cousin, so it's double for me. So, so it's double for me. Let me make sure I'm doing this right here. Jared's on here. Hey, I see you, Miss Mingo. And Shine, I see you. And thank you all for coming on. So, guys, and so she just did a little bit of recap on some things that we were. And please, if you have questions for those of you who are single, married, whatever, single or married, either one. So
engaged,
yeah. Listen, don't forget, you can send your questions. Also, if you don't want to ask questions on here, you can send your questions to jayandlalive@gmail.com, JAYANDLALIVE @gmail.com. Okay, it's all, one word. So JAYANDLALIVE @gmail.com. So if someone can, glad you can tune into us. Hey, Eric Bogan, thanks, man, for coming on. Chris Brooks, guys, we're going to dive into something that is dear to our heart. We was married in 1995, June 10th, 1995. is our day of matrimony.
Yes.
And hey, Adrian. And you know, what a wonderful day it was. And we talked about it in our last broadcast how I couldn't wait. And my dad wanted me to wait to 96, but I couldn't wait beyond 95 because, you know, the truth be told, I don't know how long my flesh was going to hold up, to be honest with you. I loved her, and I knew I loved her. You know, but I didn't know. My dad wanted me to prepare, and I understand that. A good father wants you to prepare and be ready to go. But I'm like, Dad, I'm ready to go. And plus, I want to keep this, you know, 100, you know, 100. So I didn't want to, you know. So I said, I gotta get this done. And so we got engaged October the 10th, 1994.
Good job, husband.
Yeah,
good memory.
Yep, October 10th, 1994. And we were married June 10th, 1995. And so here we are. Yeah. Oh, June. Hey, Todd Wells. Wow, Todd Wells. Her date was June 10th, 1989.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, the American dream. Again, for those who are just coming on, please share and invite. That's your birthday? My goodness. That's Kim's birthday. Is she serious?
What?
Kim Sanders' birthday. Wow.
Is it really?
So, guys, it was, it's always been like it's the American dream, right? Well, for most of us, but typically, you know, in our era coming up, the American dream was to get married, you know, have a nice house. Have a nice house, nice car, get married. You know, after you've done being single, not only in as far as being hooked up, but actually being done with the singleness of mind. Also, very important. And so, being done with being single, as far as a posture and also a way of thinking. When you're done with that and you're willing to commit, meaning that you're willing to watch this, sacrifice your own self for somebody else that you love. That is you said October 10th, but she said October the 10th was her birthday when she got engaged. We got engaged. Oh, that's awesome. So Gail Webb, hey Gail Webb from Carolina, I know who you are. And so it's the American dream is to get, for me, you know, I don't say American dream, but the dream. Let's just say the dream.
Pretty much, yeah.
The dream. The dream is to get married, for me, it was like have 2 kids. That was, I said for me. Now, I said for me. Now, my wife is going to tell you what she thought. I've only wanted 2 kids. You know, us 4 and no more. That was it. You know, and that was it for me. Us 4 and no more. Hey, Antoinette, Alicia, Will, hey, and Patricia Johnson, thanks for coming in. Invite and share, guys. Please help us out. Thank you. So it was my dream for us to have 2 kids. How many did you want, babe? Did you really want?
Well, before I met you, I wanted 9 children.
Okay. Thank God that God changed his mind. He regulates. He regulates.
Before I met my husband, I wanted 9 children because I loved children. I love children. Something that I didn't tell you all in our last show was what I was going to college for. I was going to college for early childhood development.
Yes.
So working around children was something I did all the time. My mother, you know, she had her in-house kind of daycare. She kept children, and of course I assisted her, you know, and so, you know, that was just something that was just a part of me. So yes, I was like, I want to have a lot of children. That was, you know, one of my goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Things change. Even the heart of the queen is in God's hand, ain't it? There's no way. Right, Roz said that's before knowledge and truth came in. Exactly. That's before knowledge and truth. Bless you, man.
I still wanted a lot of kids, though. Maybe not 9, but at least 4 or something like that. Right. I still wanted a large family.
I guess I don't have a problem with wanting to have something. The problem is, having the resources to literally raise a tribe.
Yeah.
No problem. Go ahead, sir. Maybe if you get a chance, come on back on. Your CEO's online. Take care of business. Bless you, man. So listen. So that's the dream, right? The dream is to have, you can fight too, but to have, get married and have kids, 2 kids. Well, 1995 comes. We were planning on waiting probably at least 2 years before we had kids, right? Mm-hmm. We want to enjoy each other. And somewhere in that period of time, we wanted kids. So we were trying, of course, like we were trying to have kids, and tried. And tried.
Yeah.
And tried. And tried. And you get the picture, right? So we tried to have kids, and nothing. And so, we just kind of, in a short period of time, we kind of blow it off the table. Maybe we got to get the timing. And so then we got to go get different things and learn from different people. We had a good friend of ours. If she's out there, she watches this. Her name is Princess Dupree, and so she was a nurse, medical nurse, and so she was sharing with us some things that we could try, and timing and what they call a thing. Basal something another.
Yep, basal, the
thermometer. So all the time, trying
temperature, ovulation,
all that stuff.
We women would know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When it comes to trying to become pregnant,
Hey, Camille,
ovulation and all of that is key.
It's
very important.
Apparently, right? So, for those of you who have children, it's quite essential, to say the least. And so we tried to listen to good evening, Jalika, I see you, and try different methods of timing and measuring out time and between her times that she has to kind of be away from it for a while, and then coming back together and trying to give birth. And it's always been it was my dream to give birth to a girl and a boy. That was my thing. I didn't want all boys. I didn't want all girls. I wanted a girl and a boy. And so many years passed by. And then after so long, we started to get a little concerned, right?
I would say probably when we got around that 5-year mark, I think it was, for me, it was a real concern.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I would go to the doctor, get my little checkups, and, and I would, let them know that me and my husband was trying to conceive and everything, so they never saw anything that was wrong. They never detected anything at that time that they could see that would hinder us from conceiving. So go ahead.
Yeah, no. So it was a major question mark, right? So like, what's really going on with this whole process? And so even during that process, we were always, trying to figure out, wondering, okay, what's going on? They're not finding it, but then they're not finding it, but maybe it is something. So then here's the thing that kind of got us a little bit on the inertia of things. You know what I mean? There were some things where, is it you? Honey, is it you? Or honey, is it you? Are you the problem? Or are you the problem? Are you the problem, or am I the problem? So then there was this kind of, we love each other, but then it's kind of this thing like, well, you might want to do something. You might want to get checked out and all this kind of thing. And so you have this battle of feeling, watch this, inadequate, right? So you have this spirit of inadequacy that takes over, because you don't know if you can actually produce, Now, as a man, I'm just saying, I think that's the thing for every man, desires to want to produce. If you're just not coming on, please, thanks for coming on. Please share and invite your friends to come on. We're seeing some heavy things that we would like for you guys to be blessed by. So we got this battle going on within, we love each other again, but there's this question mark, that's over both of our heads, like, all right, who's the one that's not able to make it happen so that we can have kids?
Yeah. So yeah, I just want to interject. And so it became,
bless your cousin.
Actually, being intimate with each other became more of just focusing on wanting to conceive instead of just us coming together and being intimate with each other. It became stressful. Yeah. Because that was always on our mind. It was just always on the forefront of our mind. And it became very stressful. And then I saw how the enemy was trying to come in and use that, for us to use that against each other.
Yeah.
But, was trying to even separate us in that. Just like Jason had said, I'm looking at him like, okay, this is you, he looking at me. So we both, looking at each other, trying to figure out, well, what is the problem here?
Right.
Right. What's going on. And sometimes in relationships, the enemy will come in situations like that. Yeah. And will try to separate you in areas in your marriage such as that. And this is something that, we experienced.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it was, I don't want to know. I want to say it was becoming a wedge per se, but maybe the front end of the wedge was kind of, it was like, because, is it you? Well, it's got to be you, because I mean, the doctors say, because it was getting to the point to where, there was, at the time, it didn't seem anything was wrong with my wife or anything. And so she was like, well, it's got to be you. And as a man, it's like, man, this can't be, this can't be the case. You know what I'm saying? This just really can't be. And so, so many years passed by, and we're still believing God. We received, prophecy, even from the first year, I think first year we got married, someone had prophesied to us and said that they had saw a son.
Yeah.
And that his name is Matthew, and it was crazy.
Well, I'm trying to remember, how did that go?
I may have to do wrong, but let me see if Lady
I don't know if I'll share this part with you.
Well, I'm talking about back when we were at your old church. I'm talking about where you grew up at. That's what I thought.
Oh yeah, that was.
I'm talking about that far back.
That was, yeah. I'll share that.
Yeah.
But before we go into that part,
okay.
I remember when we were living on the east side of Detroit. I remember talking to God, praying, and I would pray and ask God for children. Hey, that's what I'm supposed to do. Lord, you said you would give me the desires of my heart. You said, Lord, I can come to you and make my requests known unto you. So that's what I would do. And I would go to the Lord and I would pray and I would, and ask him. And this one particular day I was praying and I said, Lord, bless me with a male child, with a son.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that day. When I prayed, I heard the Lord say to me that I'm going to bless you with a male child.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to bless you with his son. And I wept that day because I knew it was God that spoke to me. It wasn't something that I just kind of recollected in my mind, kind of put in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that it was God that had spoke to me.
Yeah.
And my heart became so content because I knew I heard the voice of God.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, then we received the prophecy, from a person that came and ministered at our church, the church we were attending at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this was years ago.
Yeah.
This is way back, y'all.
Yeah.
So the gentleman actually called me and Jason out. Didn't know us, didn't know our names or nothing like that. And he said, I see a male child, that God is going to bless you all with. And I knew it was God that spoke that to him, because God had told me that first.
Right.
So it confirmed what the Lord had already said to me.
Right.
So real excited about all of that, still holding on.
Yeah.
Holding on to what God has promised.
Yeah. And it has not been easy at all to the hold on. It hasn't been easy in the journey, and so, because here's the thing, what made it so hard, you're
welcome, Brittany.
And you want something so bad, right? You want, a real man wants to leave a legacy, right? I don't want to die without having a son to leave behind, and I know he may be crushed or whatever, his dad passed away or whatever. I know, but God doesn't come and rapture the church first, but I want to leave a legacy. I want a zero, that means a man child, to leave a legacy. And so the fight, and the battle, and the tears that we cry over this, have cried over, is
many tears,
because one of the things, the fights that we when I say fight, not with us, not the fight, I'm in the fight of the issue of not having kids at the moment, is my wife. She loves me so much that she thinks sometimes that she's hurting me by not being able to conceive. At the same time, I love her so much because I think she's hurting because she's not conceiving. And so we love each other, but it's like we're trying to guard each other if we can't. We're sorrowful in a way, at the moment. Well, at the time, it seemed like, could not conceive, right? And so we're just in tears, many tears going on. And then to go on further into this, no, I'm sorry. If I'm going too fast, y'all know this is a free show. So if my wife needs to share something,
I just want to share, because I know it's a very
Emmanuel, go ahead.
Sensitive conversation.
Yeah.
Even for us.
Yeah.
Because we've never shared this to this extent or into this in depth with anyone. Right. Like our personal feelings and how it has affected us emotionally.
Yeah.
As a woman, that's something that if you can't do anything else, if you could conceive, that's a great achievement. And for me, I didn't really have many aspirations. I didn't really have many goals in life. One of the things I always wanted to do, and that was to have children. To me, being a mother was the greatest thing you could ever do, greatest accomplishment that you can have is to be a mother. Because I think mothers are awesome. I think their responsibilities are great.
Yes.
And that's all I ever wanted to be.
Yeah.
So to have that part not functioning, not working, not producing, not happening, crushed me.
Yeah.
It really crushed me to a point where I felt in life, well, if I can't produce naturally, everything else around me is voided. It's not, I didn't have much interest outside of having children.
Yeah.
So I kind of looked at everything in my life as being unproductive. And I just stopped. At one point, I was just stuck.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't move forward. I wouldn't move forward. I was just stuck. Mm-hmm. And I had so many young women that my friends and my family members, you know, that were popping out babies like left and right. You know, that? They look like, it seemed like, you know, their spouses or their boyfriends or whoever would just look at them and they would be pregnant. They was just fertile myrtles, you know.
Man.
And some of them were very close to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, God, this is cruel.
Yeah.
You know, and seriously, that's how I felt. Yeah. I was like, God, this is so cruel. I'm like, I have to endure watching this, something somebody else, you're blessing somebody else to do, give birth, but yet I have to be on the sideline watching this and having to be genuinely happy and having to be genuinely, you know, celebrating.
Yeah.
You know, so to say the least, my heart was really broken. My heart was really broken. But people would never know that my heart was in the condition that it was because I would never show it and I wouldn't let people know what my struggle was. I continued to love on the women that was pregnant and be there for them and do anything I could for them, even though on the inside I was just so dried up, so hurt, so disappointed.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, but I kept moving. I kept moving and I kept praying, even though there was times when I didn't want to pray because I was mad at God. And this is real talk. I was mad at God because I felt like he was denying me.
Right.
He was denying me, you know, so I'm grateful that in the midst of going through that state that God didn't leave me in that state.
Yeah.
Because it was not good. It was not good. I was so broken on the inside, you know. And this is just my side of the story. And I know my husband, I know he was hurting as well.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't know, sometimes we just didn't know how to juggle it because it was heavy.
Yeah.
You know, it was heavy, but in situations like that, you got to give it to God.
Yeah. It wasn't easy, guys. And even with my mind goes back and how her cousins, all of her friends seemed like were just having babies. And we would get invitations to baby showers and all these celebratory things. And we're still trying, and we've been, you know, we're years and years and years in and nothing. And, you know, my wife would keep her smile on her face, you know, in public view. She would always try to posture herself in a celebratory manner, and she did well in that. But then there's a sanctuary that's called home, where you can be true to yourself, right? You can be true to yourself. And there are times, and many times, when it would happen, and she would try not to, you know, not to be emotional around me because she was trying to be this strong person. Because sometimes she didn't see, maybe she didn't see the reaction that was going on. Well, she didn't see what was going on inside of me. And because she couldn't see what's going on inside of me, she would try to maintain her emotions. But it's different, you know, when you want to be a mother, and you know, it's different when you want to be a dad, you know. And so many days come home and just weep. You know, after so long, it was just too much.
Yeah.
Because it was just, you know, one person after another was having a baby shower, and people that we love, right? They were friends, relatives, you know, they were come on and they have all these children, and we would go buy stuff for them. We'd go down to the baby depot or wherever it was that they had their registration, you know, stuff registered at, and we would go down there wishing and hoping ourselves, right?
And then on top of that, for some reason, the women that were longing for children, the ones that wanted to get pregnant and wanted children, they would cling to me. For some reason, they would come my way and they would confide in me, and they would be talking to me and, you know, telling me, you know, that they desire children and blah, blah, blah. And I would be encouraging them and praying for them and all of this. And I would be like, God, really?
Yeah.
And then these women would get pregnant.
Man, like for real.
These women would get pregnant. And I'd be like, God, this isn't funny.
No, really.
I'm like, okay, Lord, really? Really? You know, so it was just layers of things. And I'm like, okay, Lord, what is it that I'm supposed to learn from this? What am I supposed to? What are you doing as far as, you know, what are you doing in me? Is it something, you know, that's going on with me that I don't see, that you need me, you know, to see? And I don't know. I was just trying to figure it out at this point. I was like, okay, God, because I don't get this. I don't know what you're doing with this, you know. But I will say, you know, these women, you know, that confided and talked to me about conception, they want to have babies and stuff like that. I prayed for them earnestly, and I didn't have an ill, you know, an ill thought in my heart and my mind against them. I wanted them to conceive. I wanted them to be blessed purely. So I really prayed for them, and so to see it happening for them, you know, but yet and still I stood in the need. I just, you know, I said, okay, God, it
definitely trying and literally, and I had forgotten about those very frequent events of women who would come to her, you know, and not they didn't even know that we were having our own issues, you know what I'm saying? But we'll have come to her and ask for prayer, you know, or whatever, and she ended up praying for them some kind of way about children, and I'm telling you, they would have kids, and it's like, okay. You know, I kind of felt like Joyce Meyer's, you know, regular statement she makes all the time. What about me? You know, and you know, it's like, you know, what about me? What God? What, you know, what is it that, you know, what's the deal? Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, and the trick, and she hit on it. You know, she was trying to figure out, you know, there's something wrong with her, and so that's also the trick of the enemy too, because the minute, you know, things are you know, if they start going wrong in our lives, in particular this situation, you start thinking there's something actually wrong with you. Like God is like, he doesn't want to bless you because of something else, you know. And you know, I saw that, Sherry, to get a prayer through for them, and you're still waiting, and you're still waiting. It's like, you know, you get a prayer through for them, right? I mean, you get a prayer through, and then it's, you know, it's like, wait a minute, that prayer just went right through and got answered and delivered, you know, and literally delivered, 9 months delivered, and you know, and
I gotta watch their process of pregnancy. You know, I have to, you know, see their tummies growing, and you know, and all of this, and you know, I'm like, wow, God. Because
she's tied to it. You tied to it. Like, you pray for that, and it come to pass. You're tied to it whether you want to or not. You know. For those of you who are just coming on, thanks for coming on. Please share and invite your individual friends. We're sharing some very intimate things, guys. I hope it'll be a blessing to you, and it's something you can hopefully still be in prayer about. You know, for those of you going through the same struggle, particularly married couples who are going through the same struggle of you know, not being able to,
Infertility.
yeah, you know, in the area of fertility and things of that nature. I mean, this is a really heavy deal, you know, for us, because, you know, when we got married, we just knew we were good to go. You know, I mean, I come from a huge family. My wife comes from a huge family. There's kids everywhere, twins, you name it. I mean, they come. It's maybe not like the sands of the seas for Abraham, but my goodness, I mean, we come from very big families, so.
Yeah, and we were challenged. You know, people would say things like,
"Wow,
y'all ain't had no kids yet." You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's just so many things that people said to us that was crushing.
Well, let's stay there. Let's stay there for a minute. Let's walk there for a minute. That's like, you know, because everybody thinks that's the thing, right? That's the thing. You get married, and they say, "You have any kids?" And after so long of dealing with that question, it gets old, but you can't avoid people asking because you're married. You look reasonably young or old enough to have kids, of course. And that's the thing. So do you have any kids? And when you say no, then the next question comes in as, do you want any kids?
Yep.
So it's first it's like, do you have any kids, or how many kids do you have, or do you have any kids? And then you say no. Then it's like, well, do you want any kids? And then I'm always feeling like I'm obligated to defend my manhood.
Hey, Jared.
In this manner. Hey, Jared. In this manner. Hey, Eva Fandeli. Bless you, my sister. Love you. Ross Williams and Sabrina, hey. And I feel like I have to defend my manhood and say, yeah, I do want kids. And then some people will say, well, don't wait too long. Because if you wait too long, you might get too old. And that kind of stuff, people I don't think they really mean harm. I really don't. But, it comes off sometimes, depending on what kind of day it is, it's stupidity. Now, it don't have to be stupidity. I'm just telling you how I filter it sometimes, or I have filtered it. And, hey, Sabrina, it's Juanita. And, it's do you have kids? Do you want kids? All right. And then you have to say, yes, I want kids. And so,
we've had some, crueler things. I've had some crueler things said to me from family members.
Yeah.
And I know this was a tool of the enemy. The enemy will use people that's close to you and family members to try to bring division in between you and your spouse.
Yeah.
Because I've been told, well, it's your husband. It's something wrong with him. He can't produce. That's why you're not pregnant. And you will never get pregnant because of that reason, because you're married to him.
Yeah.
How cruel is that?
Very much so. And
that's when I tell you demonically driven.
Yeah.
From Satan himself.
That stuff hurts, right? That stuff hurts because when you're the one in some people's eyes to say the reason why you're not producing is because of him. I mean that goes beyond. Hold on, hey JNL, you are passing the test now. The way he is with you, I want to make continue sharing that. Goes out to me. Oh, no problems. So that's my sister, my god sister Sandra. Bless you, sis.
Bless you.
And so when you're being accused of being the one that is halting the productivity, I mean that kind of sticks in you a little deep. Because my wife, she is a true supporter of me. I am a true supporter of her.
Yes.
But when somebody that's close to you says something like that, I know it's got to hurt. It was coming from her side of the deal, as far as the family is concerned. And so I have to kind of keep her calm. And yet it is a touchy, situation.
Because you just don't expect people that say they love you or to say something so harmful about somebody you love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm very protective of my husband. I'm very protective of our relationship. I'm not gonna I don't care what family member it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna let anybody say anything about him or against him.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Right.
It doesn't even matter.
You can't let people see that side of your face, babe. That's not good. You look mad. You look real mad.
Oh,
you went to another
don't
place.
mess with my boo. But I'm just saying.
Y'all forgive her. Forgive her. She just completely went to another place. In that moment, I don't know, was that like 20 seconds? She went to another place. And I want y'all
I had a flashback.
to remember the sweet face, not the other thing that you just saw like 35 seconds ago. All right, so please forgive her. All right. So
please forgive me.
So, but no, it's the challenge. And so we were, and please, if you have any questions, we'll stop. Yeah. Brandon says she in order.
Thank you, Brandon.
So we were attending this one particular church at that time for many years. We have had offers of, even within the church, we had offers of one particular young lady who had said she was giving birth to a son. And the pastor and the first lady called us into the office. We didn't see this coming a mile away. And they were trying to keep the child.
Thank you, ladies. From
going in don't be telling me. Anyway.
That's right.
Right. So the pastor and the first lady at that time, the church we were at, they called us in the office and say, hey, this particular sister does not want the child, and we thought of you guys.
Oh, yeah.
And we want you to consider taking this newborn that's coming in the next, 2 weeks, and taking him home and adopting him.
Well, actually,
this happens all through the show.
This young lady had hid her pregnancy from her mom. So she was a young girl. She was in high school, and she hid her pregnancy.
That's a good point.
And mother didn't know about it, until
most recent.
I think she might have started going into labor or something, and they had to come get her from school. Got to the hospital. Doctor said, ma'am, your daughter is pregnant and she's about to give birth. So it was like one of them situations.
Yeah, I think it's a good point that she brought it up, because it wasn't just like any lady. She was like a young lady still in high school or whatever. And so the child was born. I mean, even to the point to where after the child was born, the first lady and the pastor, they brought the child home because they figured she didn't want the child, as she had stated. I'm sorry. Even to the point where they called us over to the pastor's house where the baby was, for us to come over and see him and kind of, because we're still in decision-making mode, right? We're kind of trying to process things in our head. Beautiful, beautiful young boy, newly born, handsome young fella. And after about, 12, maybe 13 days in, and we were strongly considering, as a matter of fact, we were staying in Southfield then, and we had bought little things and little bibs and things for them and whatnot. Nothing really major. We bought some things to kind of prepare, because we were kind of making our mind like, yeah, we need to do this. That's how we felt, right?
Well, I was kind of on the fence.
Now she was. She was on the fence.
I was on the fence with it, and the reason why I was on the fence is because the girl was so young, and her mom was like, basically telling this girl she's not going to keep the baby. That's kind of how it was. And I didn't know how I felt about that. I'm like, this girl she should have a choice if she wants to keep her baby or not. And I don't think that they should just say, she can't, keep the baby. So we went over to our pastor's house at the time where the baby and the girl was staying. And I had a chance to talk to the young lady. And upon talking with her, she explained some things to me. She was a very confused young girl. I talked to her and I talked to her mom. And, I could tell, like, us stepping in and taking this baby would have caused a whole lot more confusion and uproar. And I just didn't feel like, that should be the case. So I had a lot of compassion for the girl. Yeah. I wanted her to make the right decision. And I wanted her mom to be okay with her making the decision.
I agree. And bless you. So my wife actually remembers a lot more detail than I did, even with that, because certainly there was a situation where it was a little hazy there. And when it was all said and done, she had changed her mind and said she was going to keep her child. You can't argue with that with a mother, right? She's going to keep her child. You really, you don't fight that at all. It's a mother, you just move on and say, okay, this was not, for us. He was not for us to raise. And he grew up to be a very handsome young man. We watched him grow up, even in this, because she was bringing a child to church, and he grew up to be a very handsome guy. Right? Yeah, and so that in itself was amazing. And we had, looking at that whole process, and that was wonderful. And it was good that the mother decided to, keep the child and raise him up. And then even the grandmother came alongside, because this is my daughter. And so we're going to make sure that he is raised properly. And even though initially they didn't want the weight of that,
right.
Of that child being in their care per se, well, at least the grandmother did,
So the end result was good.
Yeah, the end result was good.
It was really, really good. And I'm glad it turned out the way that it did. On the flip side, we still were without children. Yeah. But it was, it was okay, because my heart was for that family, to make sure that family was okay.
Tanya, Tiffany, and Carl, thanks for my cousin Todd, Lena Rice. I'm sorry I did not acknowledge you earlier. Thank you, guys. Ricky Cook. Hey, Kim, I see you already. Guys, if you're just not coming on, thanks for coming on. Please share and invite as we move on. And so that part of it, not taking a baby home that day was actually for us considered a good result, because the mother wanted the child, and that's that. And then the mother making a good decision, right? Making a good decision for her to take care of the child. So we're moving forward. And
so the time frame, let's give them a time frame.
Well, babe, I don't know. Remember those details. Y'all gonna learn it as this goes on. My wife be the one that kind of cuts in the middle of everything, like a rabbit coming across the lawn while you're trying to cut grass.
I just try to give more detail, so they'll kind of understand the timeline. So we're still very young when all of this is happening. We're still we might be in our late 20s, early 30s. At this point, so there's still hope for, as they would say, there's still hope for you.
Right.
So, we were still fairly young when that incident happened, and that was like the very first incident when it comes to adoption and stuff, or trying to adopt.
Yeah. And so we're still quite young. We're well within what we call in societal measurements, well within our age bracket to yet still have a son. And so many years continue to pass by, and
the prophecy.
Which one, babe? Did we hit on it?
At the camp. Remember, we were invited.
Okay. Yeah. So we were invited to a revival camp. Out matter of fact, it was in Mount Clemens. I remember this. And we were I want to say, did we do any singing that night?
No, we just went.
I don't think we just went. We was invited
Yeah.
by a friend of ours, a Korean friend that we had. We love him. Matter of fact, I haven't seen him in a while. His name is Andy. We were invited out to his revival, huge tent, in a warm month. It had to be spring, summertime or something of that nature. And hey, Asia and Charnel, and we were in revival, and so God was moving. And then there was a Philippine, I want to say he was, or was it?
I don't know, was he Philippine, but he was foreign.
I think I want to say he was Philippine, and I'm almost sure of it, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah.
19-year-old man of God, anointed, and he didn't know it from Adam or Eve. He came up. He called us up to him. He said, and he began to talk. Now, mind you, that's right, because this is what shocked me, because I didn't play a note. I didn't sing a note.
We didn't do anything.
And so we just showed up in jeans and a t-shirt and baseball cap, whatever. And he began to talk about, me having the heart of David and being.
Well, can I interject again, Dave?
Yes, this is the rabbit coming across the grass. See it? See it? That's go ahead.
So, okay. So we get to this tent revival. It was a tent revival. And we walk in, found us a seat. And as we walked into this tent revival, you could feel the presence of God.
Yeah.
You could literally feel the presence of God in this tent.
Yeah.
So we went and we sat down. And towards the end of the service, they asked, for everyone to come up to like the altar, to gather around the altar. So me and Jason, we gathered around the altar, and this short little man, he was a foreigner. I'm not sure what nationality he was, but he came to us, and he told us, he asked us, he said, "Do you all have any children?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "No." And he was like, "Okay." So once we said we didn't have any children, he just began to share with us, what God had given him for us.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want me to continue?
Yeah, please.
So he looked at me and he started talking to me, and he said, "God is remembering Hannah." He said, "God is remembering Hannah."
Now that part she didn't get that right.
I didn't get that right.
She didn't get that right.
Okay, what
he said? His exact words was remember, not.
He said remember Hannah. Okay.
He said remember Hannah.
Okay.
Women are usually detail oriented. She is more detail oriented, but this time she missed it. She missed it like a false prophet. Straight missed it. Curveball, straight missed it. But anyway, he said to her, "Remember Hannah," and that blew me away. Because we all know what happened. Hannah was barren, couldn't conceive, and God has shut up her womb. But anyway, look at now.
So he said, "Remember Hannah," and he began to tell me. He said that God is going to bless you with a son. And all of the prophecies that have gone forth, never been a female child. It's always been a male child.
Yeah.
And that male child is the same one that I prayed for from the very beginning. That God said he was going to bless me with.
Yeah.
So he just kept confirming through, different ones that did not know us. So he said to me, he said, "God's going to bless you with a male child." And he said that this child was going to be a man of God. God was going to use this child, and he said some other things. I can't remember everything. And then he, prophesied to Jason. Jason could tell you what he was saying.
Well, yeah. I mean, just the whole thing about, having the heart of David and for worship. Yeah. That's been my thing. And another person has told us to don't despise small beginnings, and it had everything to do with our time of beginning to pastor, and that's a whole nother broadcast all by itself, guys.
It's another part of our journey.
A part of our journey. And but you know, don't despise small beginnings. And so, you know, so yeah, so we took that word, and God always. Well, here's the thing about it: God will always send a word in time, right before you fall off.
Yes.
It always seems to be the time when you're about right on your edge, when you're about ready to let go of the rope, and then God has sent a prophet, a man, a woman of God, to say, hold on to the rope. Please do not teeter and totter off of this cliff. He will always send a word right when you need it. And it's always happened that way throughout our journeys. Right when we get ready to give up, right when we're about ready to have a nervous breakdown or whatever it is. And I'm sure you guys a lot of you can attest to this, is that God will always send help or send you a word right at the point when you're just about to fall off. Right
in the nick of time.
Yeah. And
God has done that to me. So I mean, God has done that for me so many times.
Yeah.
So I can encourage, you know, the women that desire children, that are believing God for children. I can encourage you, because it's going to be in His own set timing. We don't understand His timing. We don't know, you know, the mind of God, how God works, but He knows His timing.
Yeah.
And that timing will be the right timing.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I wanted to share this particular time. You know, I was just really going through, you know, wondering, okay, God, is it going to happen for me? Is it not going to happen for me? Okay, God, you know. And by this time, I believe I probably was in my 40s. Yeah, if not my 40s, close to, you know, I was in my 40s.
Okay.
At this point, I believe I was in my 40s. And Jason.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Jason was invited to play at a birthday dinner for one of our good friends' father, Pastor Hewitt.
And his son is on here now.
Jared's dad. We were invited to the dinner.
Yeah.
And I was not going to go. You know, I was just like, I just don't, you know, I just wasn't in the mood. I just didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like being around people. I was just in some type of mood, just, you know. And Jason, you know, he's like, okay, baby, you know, stay home or whatever. But in my spirit, I just kept feeling like, you need to get up, you need to get dressed, and you need to go. And I just kept feeling that in my spirit. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go. So I got myself together, went to the dinner. When we walked in, I was trying to, you know, find me a table to sit at, because Jason, I think, was playing. Did you sit with me?
I'm still trying to remember the event, so I'm trying to follow you here.
It was at Greater Grace, the big Greater Grace.
Oh, okay.
But it was in one of the.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
So
I did play. Jared,
you did play.
I played some, but Jared already set up too. He was playing too.
Okay.
So yeah.
So I walked in, and I was trying to find me somewhere to sit. So I ended up sitting at this table, and I sat next to this lady. She was such a sweet lady, and me and her just kind of clicked, and we just, you know, just started talking. It just, you know how you just meet people and you just click when you feel so comfortable with. That's kind of how it happened for me and her. And we just started talking. And I don't even know how we started talking about children. I don't even remember how the conversation came up. But this lady began to share with me, you know, that she got married in her later years. And she wanted to have children. And so I'm like, oh, okay, wow. So she didn't get married until she was in her 40s. I believe she was in her 40s. So, you know, she was telling me her story, and she said, me and my husband, you know, we believed God. You know, we were older, you know, and in our age, they pretty much, you know, was like, well,
right,
you know, it may happen, it may not happen for you.
Pretty close to writing you off,
know.
You know.
So, but she said she believed God, and her husband, you know, went up for prayer, and they prayed over them. And she said she had her first child at the age of 46.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat there, and it took everything in me not to weep,
Mm-hmm.
because I knew at that moment that God had set me up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was going through all of those issues of in my head, is it gonna happen? Is it not gonna happen? Can it happen?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the Lord just set me up and said, I got this lady right here.
Right.
And this lady is gonna minister to you through her testimony.
Right. Right.
And she did. This lady ministered to me. And her son, she was a beautiful lady too. You would have thought she was much younger than she was. Actually, she looked very young.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're at the dinner, you know, and worship. We were worshiping God and everything. And her son was there. Her son was there.
Wow.
His name, I want to say.
Oh my goodness, I forgot. Yeah.
Was it Isaiah or Isaac?
Something along those lines.
I'm not sure.
Probably.
But her son was there. Cute boy. Very cute boy. He might have been like 10 years old or something like that. But he was there. And we, like I said, we went into worship. We was worshiping.
Mm-hmm.
And as my eyes were closed and I had tears running down and I was just
My
worshiping God.
God. Nah, I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
And all of a sudden I felt this gentle kiss on my cheek. And when I opened my eyes, it was the little boy, the lady's son.
Mm.
And I looked up and I looked over at him and I was just like, oh God.
Yeah, done.
I was like, I was done. But in my heart, in my mind, it was just a gentle reminder.
Mm-hmm. Take your time. Yeah. Yeah. It really was. It was like it was almost angelic, even though you knew it was a little boy. But,
I mean, it really messed me up.
Yeah.
But in my heart and my mind, it was just like, it was a gentle reminder to let me know, you know, that God had not forgotten.
Yeah. Not forgotten. Not forgotten. A little boy. The same one that was born 46 years into this mother's life.
Ooh-wee.
How ironic is that, you know? So,
you know, so God's timing is never our timing.
Yeah.
You know, it's never our timing. And he will give you a glimpse of hope to let you know, don't throw in the towel.
Yeah.
You know, just keep praying and believing.
Yeah.
You know, keep praying and believing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep praying and believing.
Yeah.
Never give up hope. And that was a glimpse of hope for me.
Yeah.
That day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my heart, my heart was so conflicted at that particular time in my life.
Yeah.
And God was like, I don't want your heart to be conflicted. I need to let you know continue to believe. Don't stop believing. Regardless. His timing is his timing.
Yeah.
He's no respecter person. What he does for someone else, he can and will do for you.
Yeah.
You know, and for many years, that's the thing where I struggled, because I would say, Lord, you're doing it for everybody else, but you're not doing it for me.
Mm.
But God has said, I'm not a respected person.
Mm-hmm.
What I do for others, I can and will do for you.
Yeah.
So don't get it twisted.
Yes.
But keep believing. Keep believing. Never stop believing. I don't care what doctors say. I don't care what people say.
Truth.
I don't care.
Yes.
Keep believing, because we serve a God that's able.
Yes.
He's able to do above and beyond, exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ask or think.
Yeah.
He's able to do it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I encourage you, women, husbands, couples that's waiting on God, that's believing God for your miracle babies. You keep believing. Keep believing.
Yeah.
Keep trusting.
Keep trusting.
Because God will come through.
He will. And we believe that. And we believe that. Thank you for that. That was very powerful. And so, believe it or not, guys, our journey continues. Our journey continues from that point. And we're in the same church. We were, the church we were in, we're faithful to that church for 15 years. So there was a lot going on with us during that tenure of time at the church. Yes, he is still in the miracle working business. Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Hey, Wanda. Thank you, guys. For those who are just coming on, please share and invite. We try not to be too long, but we just wanted to share this with you guys because I hope it'll be a blessing to those who may hear it live or a blessing to those who may watch this by way of replay. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to ask questions. Type them down. If you don't want to ask them live out here, then certainly go ahead and go to jayandlalive@gmail.com. That's JAYANDLALIVE@gmail.com. So from that point, we had spent some more time still wondering, God, what's going on? We're not able to produce. I'm not able to produce, and she's not able to conceive. We don't know what's the problem, who's the problem, whatever. And there's a lot of things that was thrown out there, hormonal imbalances.
Later
on, and it's probably not him because blah blah blah. I've had checkups and all kind of type of things. Nothing like deep and extensive. What it cost me thousands of dollars to do, but enough for the doctors to so-called come up with a conclusion, so to speak, that it's probably not him. Blah blah blah. Whatever. So who knows? So time has passed by, and there was one of our church sisters. We love her dearly, and she walked up to us after a service. As a matter of fact, I don't even know. Have we left?
You were pastoring. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pastoring then. Yeah, but we came by to visit. That's what it was. We were pastoring in Detroit. In 2012 when she came to us.
Was it 12?
12? No, 13. 13. And she walked up to us. She said, "Are you guys open to adoption?" And we kind of like, okay, yeah, because previous to that, the Lord spoke to me about adopting a girl. The Lord spoke to me about it, and I shared it with my wife. A little girl. And so I said, well, it all depends. I said, what's the situation? So she begins to explain the situation about a young lady, and I do mean young lady, 25 years old, was pregnant. She's on her 7th child. 4 of them are already in the system. All right, 4 of them already gone.
Well, yeah.
But there were 4. There were 4. There were 4 going. At the very minimum 3. Very minimum 3. But I believe it's 4 of them. 2 of them were with her, but she did not want to. She absolutely did not want the 7. Now this was a different scenario than the first. Then talking about that the mother changed the mind. I mean, this young lady was not in position, nor did she have the heart, the mind, or whatever to want to take care of this child. And I asked the sister from our church, I said, what's the scenario? She's on the 7th child. And I asked her later on that week, I said, I have one very important question. Is it a girl? And because I have been praying about this girl that God had been telling me about, right? And she said, let me check. I have to find, I'm not quite sure, but I will check and see, right? So probably about a day or so, came back on the phone and said, yes, it's a girl. All right. Now, I began to get excited because I'm like, wow, this is just the Lord answering prayer. Is this the Lord answering prayer or confirming what I had already saw through him sharing with me some time back? Now, mind you, the problem when I first told my wife about this, she had some reluctance, only because sometimes because you're already disappointed about you not being able to conceive, the notion of wanting to adopt a child, regardless of what the child is, a boy or girl, the notion comes across as, oh, so we're just going to not trust God, or we're going to resort to this because we can't have. And that, for me, that was never the case. It was just in obedience to God and what he had shown me, we were to adopt a girl and that we would give birth to a son. Right.
Just to interject with me. When it came.
Thanks for sharing and inviting, guys.
When it came to adoption, for me, I always questioned, would I actually be able to love that child as if they came from me? Would I be able to really look at that child, even though that child don't look like me or my husband, don't have anything that resemble us in that child? Could I love them unconditionally as if I gave birth to them? So that was always in the back of my mind and my concern. And I would never want to adopt a child that I would not give my whole attention and heart to, because they deserve that. That's what all children, adopted, birth, given, really adopt or give birth to them, they deserve all of you and all of your attention, all of your love, everything. And so I wouldn't want to go into adoption, back then. That was back then. We still, fairly young.
Yeah.
Where my heart was then, but by the time this young lady came into our lives, my heart was more so open. My heart was more open to the fact, I was concerned, but I was prayerful. Like, God, if this is the direction you have said for us to go, help my heart to be open and able to receive.
Amen. And that was a very pivotal point for her, indeed, for her to be open to that. And so it was told to us that certainly this child is a girl. To the point that we set up a meeting, probably the next week or so, with the mother to really get a grasp with the mother and the dad, who they had to go find, too young to be. And I believe he was like the father of literally all of them. And we're talking about 7 kids. She's 25. He had to have been like younger than 25. And I'm thinking, like, my God, this is, say, hey, Michael, bless you, man, and your wife and your child. And Shamia echoes, bless you. And so, to the point that we even had a meeting with a young lady. She's pregnant, certainly is pregnant with her 7th child. 4 of them are in the system. We met with her and her husband, and clearly, even from a mental standpoint, they were not in the position nor the posture to raise up a young child at all in the state that they were in.
No.
We were pastoring on the west side of Detroit, and we were renting at the time, and so we had keys to the church. Even the Lord had, was always giving me this tender heart towards people. Period. That's just my nature. What God has given me, I put the grace of God is on my life too. I just have a tender heart towards people. One thing you learn, guys, and I hope you already know, that people are your greatest asset, especially if you're in leadership. They are your greatest asset. So, and so even in the situation, I wanted the mother to not be so disconnected, because we really wanted her healed. Because she was in I would consider a very low esteemed position.
Yes.
She, really, let me read this. Hold on. Oh my God, it was. Absolutely. I agree, Antoine. I totally agree. Yes, that's an awesome statement. You have 3 biological and 3 adopted. And yes, the Lord does call towards adoption. I totally agree
Yes.
with that. Amen and amen and amen to that. And so we're in a process at the time of, talking with the mother who was getting ready to give birth to this child. And probably, I'll say within the next maybe 6 to 8 weeks, maybe a little more, might be a little bit more time. Might have been like 2 months away. So
yeah, about 2 months.
We were preparing. We had a home. We had a home on the east side. As a matter of fact, we were taking care of my wife's mother's home at the time. Her mother had passed away 2004. We had the house for, let me count the years now, 9 years at that point after her going on to be with the Lord.
Yep.
So 9 years, and so we're having a meeting with the mother. We want her to be healed. So I even showed her the building where we have service at.
Invited her to
church and say, listen, we want you healed. We want you to get better, as a person. We'll raise your child to the honor and glory of God, and we want you to be healed as well, so you'll be able to see the progress of your child as we're raising it. And so she obliged. We picked her up. We took her by the church and said, hey, this is where this is blah, 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 get some details and whatever, whatnot. And so we want to make sure she got to her doctor's appointments, the clinical stuff, and we want to make sure she got everything squared away. And so moving forward, so let's weeks, 2 months passed by, and we had told her, we said, listen, anything happens, if your water breaks, call us ASAP. I mean, as soon as it happens. If you have contractions, call us. All of that stuff, call us, because we want to be ready to roll. And so one particular night was, oh my goodness, was it
July?
No, June, the last day of June, because the child was born July 1st. So the last day of June, that night, we got a phone call, and she said, my water just broke. And we jumped in a Volkswagen that we had, what's the fucking next? Passat.
Oh, I don't even remember what we
had. And we drove, as the Southerners say, we hightailed it over to that spot where she lived, picked her up, and we took her to the hospital.
Oakwood Hospital.
Yeah, took her to Oakwood Hospital. And rushed her. We're on the gas. We're moving, and she's in, of course, she's in great labor and pains and whatnot. And we said, honey, we're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you there. And we got her there. Say, hey, listen, we got to the front. You know how to get to the front. She's in labor. We got to get in there. Rushed her in. My wife went in. I went in, parked, and ran in, and whatever. Blah 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 blah. So we get there. We spend, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10 hours. I'm cutting across the grass here now. So we spent about 8, 9, 10 hours. She's in labor. My wife is in there, right? I'm outside the room. My wife is in there with her doing the process. And then so the doctors or the nurses, whoever it was, came in and said, okay, we're ready to go. I think she's ready to deliver. And so I'm going to concede this to my wife in just a second. And so she's getting ready to deliver, and they get ready to go and deliver. And so I'm going to hand this over to La and let her take the next part of the story and go.
So, okay. So we're in the delivery room, and it's just me. Her boyfriend wasn't there. No other family members was there.
Nobody was there.
So
but us.
It's just me and Jason, and I'm in the delivery room with her, and I'm helping her, holding her hand, just there. And so it gets to the point where, she has this baby. And when this baby, comes out, the first thing she says, the mother says is, please tell me it's not a boy. And I remind you, we were under the impression that she was having a girl. So we were totally blown away when this baby came and it was a little boy. So immediately my heart was like, oh my goodness, I have to tell Jason that she just delivered a little boy. So I cut the umbilical cord and everything. This was I had never seen a child delivered, and yeah, it was a quite different, experience for me. And then cutting the umbilical cord and all of this. So after I cut the umbilical cord, wrapped the baby up, and they gave the baby directly to me. They never gave the baby to her.
Never.
And I was that kind of took me for a loop. I'm like,
it was clearly understood.
Mama. I'm like, why are you not giving this baby to her?
And release papers and everything was already signed too, by the way.
So I'm like, okay, all right. Well, anyway.
Go ahead.
So they gave the baby to me, and I looked at this.
Hey, Rachel.
I looked at this little baby, and immediately I was in love. Immediately. Immediately. I mean, I was just like, I connected with this little baby as if he came from my womb. And I did not expect that at all. I didn't expect to feel that way. It was a remarkable feeling. So I go outside in the hallway. Jason is standing in the hallway. And I'm nervous because I have to tell Jason that this young lady just had a little boy. And so I tell Jason, I say, Jason, she had a little boy. And Jason immediately was like, that is not what God told me. That is not what God said. But at this point, I could not say no. I mean, I could not just say no and say, no, we don't want to take care of this child because it's a boy. I could not. So, me and Jason had this conversation in the hallway, trying to figure it out, trying to figure it out. So, we came to the conclusion that we were going to keep him. We were going to raise him. We were going to all of that. So we named him.
Yeah,
and everything.
Yeah.
So you could go from there.
Yeah, and now, mind you, I'm fighting in my mind against what God had told me concerning the girl that I'm supposed to adopt. But it ends up being born a boy, as my wife just aforementioned. And I wrestled with that. A friend of mine, Bishop Wayne Parent in South Bay, was with me, and I called him Papa Parent. I said, listen, this thing didn't come out the way the Lord showed it to me, and he just encouraged me. And I said, I don't know what to do. I walked outside the hospital, literally shaking my head like, this is not what God said. But we didn't want the child to go into the system. Certainly my wife didn't. And so it was hard. We had to sleep on it. And the next day, we decided that we were going to go for it. And so we came back the next day. The nurse, or those who are in charge of powers that be, handed me the birth certificate. I signed it. I named him, gave his first, middle, and certainly his last name. And wow. And we were off. And we, from the moment we took pictures inside, and some of you probably saw it on the video. If you have not seen it, there was our promo video for this particular show coming up, and that you're watching right now. There's a promo video. And I forgot to title the live broadcast, so please forgive me. But I would have titled "Where's the Baby?" Right? So we brought young Caleb home. We brought him home, and that's what I mean. I named Caleb, and
Elijah Smith.
Caleb Elijah Smith is his name. and we brought him home. We had took pictures, and we had so many friends. Now imagine this. Mother Rita's on here. God bless you. I'm glad you're on here.
Bless you,
bless
Mother.
you, Rita Labor. And so we brought Caleb Elijah Smith home. And immediately after about, I don't know, 12 hours, 24 hours, the bonding was very tight. Of course, we had to wake up every 2 hours to feed him. But as a blessings to your mother, but as a father, right? And knowing that he has been birthed from out of a very tumultuous situation, I understand that there's power in my mouth, and there's power in the mouth of the believer. And so every 2 hours, even after the feeding and whatever, I would speak destiny into my son's life. I spoke destiny. I told him what he was going to be, the grace and the anointing of God that was going to be on his life. I spoke it over his life. I spoke it over his life. Every time I woke up, I would have him in my chest, like so. I don't know if you guys can see this, because the camera's not turned the right direction, and I would have him in my chest like this, on my left shoulder, and I'll be speaking destiny into his life. And so I'll say, Caleb Elijah, your name has purpose. You're going to be a great man of God. And I would just, whatever I felt that my spirit to release to him, God had already put in my spirit what to speak over him. So I released that over. And so, my God, Lisa, I see you. And so, about a day or two, we had friends bring over some and everything. We had people bringing van loads with baby cribs, baby clothes, baby toys, new stuff. My best friend and his wife, they bought one of the most expensive stroller carriers you ever want to see. That thing by itself, now they may run higher now, but I know at the time it was like $250 for this unit. And they bought that for us because they were so happy for us. We posted the pictures on Facebook when we were first in the hospital with him, and we were, I could pull up right now pictures of him when we were in the hospital and the comments that we received for Caleb. And just imagine all this celebratory things are going on, and we're happy. There's joy. He has brought joy to our home. That was just, we're a mama and daddy. We're a mama and daddy, and this is all right. It took us some hours after realizing he was a boy, but we felt good about raising this child. And we were, I was just pastoring my wife alongside helping Kingdom Life Worship Church. And so that's a whole nother broadcast. But anyway, we were happy. We're happy to raise him. And so people would come and visit. We go to our aunt's house, and they would come by. Some of the church members would come by, and we were just celebrating, and they were just enjoying him, and it was just amazing, right? And so, somewhere in the process, in the timeline, there were a relative that came on the scene, and long story short, she began to spread lies that were totally, putting things in the mother's mind that they might be so and so, and they might be this, and they might be this, and then it was like this constant vindictive thing that was going on. Deception. Yeah, major deception that kept going on, and it was like a real strong attack to the point to where she was just getting heavily involved and talking to the dad like, you need to do something. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. And it's like she didn't want the child. Like, she clearly did not want Caleb.
The mother didn't.
The mother didn't want, right? But mind you, that the relative in question that we're talking about, she already had
4 of her children.
No, actually 3.
3.
She had 3 of her children, and she was going for a 4th child. Now, we can speculate on reasons why she wanted to have that 4th child, okay? I will not do so on this broadcast. However, she wanted the 4th child, and there was a constant attack against her character, against our credibility.
Mm-hmm.
And it was clear, I thought, to everybody involved that we were well capable. Our income was good, no problem. We can handle raising this child. We're gonna, and in fact, if I got to sacrifice, and our income was good, but I do what I got to do because this is my son, right? So I do what I got to do. So, did you want to say something?
I did.
Okay.
One of the major issues was they wanted to keep this baby in the family. They did not want this baby to go to strangers. So they did, this particular aunt schemed, lied, did everything possible to keep us from actually keeping and adopting this child. So she put lies and stuff in the head of the mother, caused her to get afraid. She told the mother that if she give us Caleb, that her other children were going to be taken from her.
Yes, that was a lie that was told.
So she became very fearful, and so it was just too much. It was just really too much to bear. So they end up going to court and all of this, and the young lady found out that her aunt was lying.
Oh, you jumping fences now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you jumping fences, but
go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Oh.
But yeah, she's kind of jumping fences, and I understand. But yeah, I mean, it basically sabotaged the whole deal, and we had been taking him to get his shots and all that type of thing, just making sure he was taken care of. And so we had bonded. I had, certainly as a father, had bonded. And even CPS came by, asked us questions. They didn't have no issues. They asked questions, and we answered questions, and they came by. So okay, it seemed like everything was good, and blah blah blah. And they left, got in their car, little car, and whatever, went home. And then all of a sudden, we get this phone call from CPS/social work or whatever, that we are to bring the child back to their home. And when I tell you guys, it broke my heart, because what he was going back to was tumultuous.
Yeah, bad conditions.
Bad conditions, people smoking weed, filthy, you name it. It was just horrible. And it broke our heart. So basically they came and took our son, or took Caleb away from us. And that broke our hearts, because we had him for some time, and enough time to really to get engaged into raising him. And I will share further on the next broadcast, even further happenings that has taken place. But we're 23 years in, ladies and gentlemen, and we're yet believing God, right?
Yeah.
So we're believing God. And my wife may want to jump in here just a second, but I just wanted to, we're grateful even to all the people who celebrated us even at that time.
Yes.
And, now here's the challenge now. Now here's the last thing I think I want to hit on, is everybody that celebrated him from afar and near, but mostly from afar, who saw it on social media, has assumed for many years after that we still had Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
After he had left, guess what we had to do? As we ran into people, person after person, week after week, day after day, year after year, they would say, "How's Caleb? How's your son?" Yeah. We could not regurgitate the entire story, is too much. But to say that just to say he was taken, he's no, or if we say, well, he's not with us, we have to kind of clear that up, because he didn't pass away. But it was hard to find words to describe what we had just experienced. Really hard. And I can tell you that he's gone from us. He is now 4 years old. I can tell you that I believe that the words that I spoke over his life will come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
One of my last things I'll say here too, and I know I said this was going to be my last thing, but here is where all the challenge is for us. We wanted a child bad. We were going to adopt him. We named him. And the biggest challenge is the F word. The F word. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. The word I'm thinking about is longer than that. And it's forgiveness. That is the biggest challenge, to have someone being used by the enemy to sabotage a deal. The mother ends up finding out that it was all a lie, but it was too late. They already had given Caleb to a relative after she found out that this young lady went through social work because she works for a health network company. So she had friends. The aunt did, and worked out the dirty work to get Caleb taken from us. And now we're without Caleb. And of course, we don't have any children, guys. We don't have any children right now. But to forgive after that was a tough one. It was a tough one. Now, mind you, I'm pastoring, and I'm a pastor, and you know, and I gotta forgive. You know, I mean, I'm in a position where I can't lead people, and the foundation of our faith is forgiveness. I'm hoping I'm helping somebody. If you say to your believer, the foundation, the very foundation of our faith is predicated on forgiveness. Mm-hmm. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, right? Mm-hmm. That whosoever that believeth him would not perish. So whosoever believes him would not perish, but have everlasting life. He commended his love while we were yet sinners. He forgave us. He died for us. Mm-hmm. While we were going to sure enough slap him in the face with our sins and our iniquities, he yet died. And so, even in a situation where my dream of raising this young man, seeing him grow up in the church, at Kingdom Life Worship Church, and see him become this man of God, because we're pouring into him, and we're raising him in the way that he should go. And so, to have that taken from us, it was heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. To the point afterwards, a year ago later, we'll get up, and my wife will get up, and we'll cry and share tears. 2 years later, we get up, still on our heart, and cry and share tears before him, because we had locked in, people had celebrated, and because we were still answering questions. It'd have been okay if people hadn't asked us, but because, you know, you don't see everybody every day, every week, every month. But people who remember Caleb, because it was a big, you know, mm-hmm. social media party and phone calls and congratulations
people
and whatever.
Were happy
they were happy for us. Yeah.
It had been such a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
People knew that, you know, we wanted children. So they were just, mm-hmm. they were so happy for us and celebrating with us, you know. Yeah. So those same people that found out that we didn't have Caleb, you know, they were hurt with us, you know. So that was a really, really trying time in our marriage. It was a very, very trying time. Yeah. But even in that, you know, love stood the test. Yeah. Love stood the test. Yeah. And it drew us closer.
Yeah. I mean, even guys, I do distinctly remember, you know, Fox 2 wanted our story, but I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to bring any attention to the situation, in particular the mother, because I knew the mother was not in a good state of mind, and it would have been made a lot uglier. I mean, I was even given the hookup, and I won't say the hookup, but it was through legal actions. I was given some names to call and work out some things, and they investigating, and that's how we found out everything was a big ball of a lie. Well, I knew it was a lie, but it took that to kind of expose it. But at that time, it was too late. I don't think there was any reprimand toward the aunt or anything like that. And so we were left without. And actually, I still, to this day, and as a matter of fact, it's probably just behind me somewhere, there is still that same stroller and carriage that was given to us. It's still in our house, still here. And there's still a baby carriage here in the house. And the point is that bringing it up is I still believe that my son is going to be in that carriage. It's going to be in that stroller, you know. And so, hey, Crystal. This is our good friend, Crystal Harris. Hey, darling. Kanita Williams, Fairleigh Terry, Esther Slater is here too.
Hi, Esther.
Crystal Harris, I know Chicago was a bomb. Hey. And yeah, and so I believe the Lord has caused us to mature over time. We did a lot of crying and a lot of shedding tears. And I don't want to go into the story of how I don't think I have enough time because we're an hour and 50 minutes in. But I want to, maybe in our next broadcast, we'll talk about that, but we're going to move on to some other things that we want to share. But I will talk about never thinking I was going to see my son Caleb again. You wouldn't believe what happened. Some of you who read an old post will believe it, but there's some detail that I may not have shared in a post. But I'll tell you what, Caleb Elijah, I will tell you this, is alive and well. And and the hand of God is on his life. And it's crazy because out of nowhere in the middle of a service, just recently I received a prophetic word from somebody. Watch this, from somebody who was not there when Caleb was in our care, who saw me through the spirit of how I was holding my son in my hand and how I was speaking of his life, who was not there. Not there. I was messed up after that word came across, because that was a word of knowledge that came across. And so, and that's all I'll share about that. But in other words, the Lord has a way of letting you know that he has not forgotten.
Oh, yeah.
Can I encourage you guys for the things that God has promised you and the things that seem like it's so far away? It doesn't seem like it's going to ever come. The word of the Lord that's written says, forever, O Lord, thy word is settled in heaven. That word settled means something in the legal sense. When a word is given, when a sentence is given, when a verdict is given in court, when the gavel comes down, that's it. The word that has been decreed is to be so. Our challenge is always holding on to the word that the judge has already given. When the judge speaks, we all know who the judge is. When the judge speaks, his word is always solid.
Yeah.
It does not waver. It is not blown away. Sometimes we allow our faith to be blown away, but his word remains. It's settled. It has already been verdict in heaven. We just have an issue sometimes, a lot of times, waiting for it to come into earth manifestation. That's our issue. I am 43 years old. I'm 43 years old. My wife is 45. Guess what? I'm coming to a screen closer. I still believe God.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
I still believe God.
Yeah.
I still believe God. You know, the word of the Lord is powerful. When he says something over your life, it doesn't matter what doctor comes along, what relative that's being used by the enemy, or whoever comes along and says whatever. If God says it's settled and that's what he said,
that's what it is.
It's what it is. And so we have to hold on to the verdict that the Lord has given. You have to remember, I talked this not a long time ago, but some months back, about the battle for your words. The enemy is always after your words. Remember Job. Job was the one who was going through, but they were going through because Satan was going to and fro, up and down in the earth. And God said, have you considered my servant Job? And so the Bible says now that Satan, he is the accuser of the brother. What? Daily. He is an accuser. What does accusers are always found in what? Court. It's always accusation, right? Or they'll end up in court. It ends up in court.
Yes.
Or allegedly. All right. The word allegedly. And so in heaven, there's always in heavens, there's always a judge. There's always a witness and a prosecuting attorney. All right. There are those things that are in place. Jesus, he is our advocate. The devil, the accuser, is the prosecuting attorney, but God is the judge. Yes. Can you understand me? And so when the verdict was given, there's always deliberation over the words we speak. Over the words we speak, y'all. That's why we have to be careful of the things that we say. Your words are powerful. Now I'm going back to what happened with Job. Now his wife, and I'm not going to preach, but I'm just teaching here a little bit, is Job's wife, after seeing what Job was going through, she didn't have the faith that Job had, and to the point to where she said, Job, why do you still hold on to your integrity? Why don't you, watch this, with your mouth, because the only way you can curse God is with your mouth. Why don't you curse God and die? We kind of look at the wife and say the nerve of her, and appropriately so. But the one thing we should even more focus in on is the fact that the depth of Job was through his mouth. The enemy himself knows that the depth of many of our destinies and purpose could be snared by the words of our mouth. And this is why our words should be few and seasoned with grace. That we have to be careful in our speech. Don't be anxious. Be careful. Listen to what's going on. See what's going on. Job said this in response, woman, you sound foolish. And you don't even sound like my wife. You know why? Because it was not really her. It was the enemy. Right. Using her. Even Job had recognition, enough discernment to know this don't even sound like you. I've been with you long enough to know this is not you. But he says, I will maintain my integrity. And throughout the book of Job, you read it, all 42 chapters, you will see where Job said the Bible says, and Job did not sin with his lips. You can sin by what you say. Yes. And yes, and yes, sir, Ryan, thank you, man. And Regina, thanks. Yeah, delayed is not denied. Wanda, thank you. Amen. So I just want to encourage all of you, and thank you for joining us at the Jay and La Live, and just sharing something that could be a blessing to all of you. Listen, follow here. But there's going to be some other pages that you're going to see pop up here. I know we don't, we're still rookies at all this stuff. Yes, we are. Please, if you would, friend request right here. It would be a blessing if you go ahead and send a friend request. We will accept you right here on this page. I know it says Jason Smith. That's me. And certainly send a friend request. We'd be glad to have you connected. And just believe God. When God has said something in your life, it doesn't matter how long it takes. God will do it. God will do it. Remember Hannah. God closed her womb. But God knew what time. Watch this. He knew what time the prophet was to come forth. He couldn't come out of time. He knew the time that was set for the prophet to come forth. God knows exactly what time for the promise to come forth in your life. Yes. Just know that he knows. Believe, keep obeying, keep worshiping. Whatever you do, whatever you do, do not stop worshiping. Let me tell you something, guys. Now, this is my wheelhouse through here. I have learned through the struggle. I have learned through pain, disappointment, being disgusted, frustrated, you name it.
Yeah.
But the Lord has given me, and I'm just saying the Lord has given me, because I really don't think I could do this in my flesh. And I know I can't. But by his Spirit, I'm able to press through under pain, pressure. I'm able to worship God. And it's something about the healing balm of worship. When you're going through things and disappointments, yeah, you may cry, but God, while you're crying in worship, he has his awesome hand of grace just to wipe those and collect those up in his presence. And I'm telling you, there's no greater thing to be able to worship God in the midst of, and then the enemy is squirming because he much rather you do what Job's wife asked. Why don't you just curse God? Don't worship God. Why don't you just curse God and die? Lose your destiny. Walk away from your purpose. Absolutely walk away from your God-given identity and just walk away and die. You need to live, Job. You know why, Job? Because I need to take you through 41 chapters of suffering just so you can pray for your friends in chapter 42. I need you to have faith at length so you can bless somebody at the end of it all.
Yeah.
After you have suffered a little while. Now, to some of us, a little while may seem like an eternity, but it's still a little while, guys. And when it comes, it'll be right on time.
Yeah.
We love you. I'm Jay. This is my wife, Lyle. And we're glad that you came in and joined us, guys. God bless you, Crystal and Brandon. I love the Lord. I love the Lord. I love God's people. I love his grace on our lives. We're here almost 23 years and no children. But it's crazy because I have my job, even the job I have, I'm around kids all the time. And that's why I don't play when it comes to kids, man, because I love kids so much. I don't play when it comes to violating these kids. I don't play that. Man, I will hurt you over messing with these kids. I'm telling you right now. Don't let the tie or the suit or whatever fool you. I have a heart for these kids, and I don't play when it comes to that. And if I wasn't gonna play with my own son Caleb at the time, I just believe kids are innocent. And so anyway, we're gonna jump in here next Monday, guys. So put it on your calendar. Next Monday night, we're doing this every Monday night at 9 p.m. Please invite somebody new. Invite your crew. All right. We love you guys, and we praise God for all of you that are here. And again, we love you. This is Jay and La getting ready to sign off. Until next Monday at 9 p.m. Nothing missing, nothing lacking, and we're wanting for nothing. Y'all, God bless all of you.
God bless you.
Love you. Take care.